Boom. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and welcome to the top 5 most underrated, most slept on, and least talked about summer fragrances for men 2026. As you know, when we get into these hot summer months, there's a lot of fragrances that you'll hear about seemingly every single fragrance short that you see, or any fragrance long form video that you watch. There's always kind of the same general bunch of summer fragrances that are mentioned and that are highlighted. And credit to those, they are very popular for a reason. But these 5 summer fragrances today will have you standing out. They're unique. They will put you apart from the crowd in the best way possible. And not everybody and their brother's talking about them so far this summer. So that'll give you a leg up when it comes to wearing these fragrances, getting noticed, complimented, and just overall positive feedback and attention. So without further ado, let me put you on with what I believe to be the top 5 most underrated summer fragrances for this year, 2026. Coming in at the number 5 spot is Maison Margiela's Sailing Day. Now, at the time that I'm recording this video, I have yet to receive the Chasing Sunsets fragrance. I believe that's what it's called, the new summertime mango sandalwood fragrance that is released. I'm super excited for that. But Maison Margiela, I guess they're primarily known for fall and wintertime fragrances. So I know that last year Maison Margiela came out with the fragrance Never Ending Summer, which that one's very good as well. Smells very photo-realistic orange, tangerine, citrus peel. Kind of gives an Aperol Spritz vibe in the opening, at least for the first hour or so. And that's a solid fragrance. Under the Lemon Trees is solid. And obviously their new fragrance that's coming out, the Chasing Sunset, should be pretty solid as well. But I still believe that Sailing Day is one of the most underrated and underappreciated summertime fragrances for men. Give you a quick rundown of the notes. You'll get some C notes, aldehydes, coriander, red pepper, some juniper, iris, rose in the mid, and then seaweed, ambergris, cedar, and amberwood in the base. To me, the best way possible that I can explain this is it smells like I'm on the boat in the middle of the ocean in the middle of July. That's just kind of where this takes me. Very realistic, but also very appealing, oceanic, marine, aquatic kind of fragrance. I don't let the seaweed or the ambergris in the base note, don't let that scare you away too much. I would say that if anything, the cedar and the amberwood is way more prominent once it dries out on skin. You can get this stuff for super cheap, way under $100, probably in the $70 to $80 range, depending on the size bottle you get. And if you're into fragrances like Acqua di Gio, any of the fragrances in that line, or even some of the light blue fragrances like Light Blue Intense, I would recommend checking this out. It's been out for several years now, so like not everybody is going to be focused on this, especially with their 2025 and 2026 summertime releases. But I still think Sailing Day is the best one from the line, and that's why it comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, a lot of city rhythm fragrances get talked about this time of the year. Trust me, and plenty. And I know they just came out with their fragrance Key West. That stirred up some controversy already online. But Tempo for me is one of those that has just worked so well. Yes, I know there's Miami. I know Miami Tropical Confessions. San Diego, my personal favorite, and so many more that people love. But this is just such a unique, yes, daily driver fragrance, but it shines in the heat. Kind of reminiscent of Amouage Reflection Man. In the opening, at least for me, I get a lot of the strawberry, a lot of the sugar, a lot of the pear, the lime, the bergamot. Those very unique citrus opening, sweet, sugary, right as you smell it. But then as it kind of dries down, you'll get more of a musk, vanilla, oak moss, vetiver, that kind of vibe. It's a sugary, sweet, musky fragrance. It works super well, lasts me throughout the day, and it shines in the heat. And compared to a lot of the other citruses that you'll get in the summertime, something about a strawberry, a pear, a lime, musk-forward fragrance, kind of vaguely reminiscent of what you get in Amouage Reflection Man. I just think it works well. A lot of people are going to be talking about a lot of different city rhythm fragrances this summer, but I know there's also a good deal of people out there that Tempo is their favorite fragrance ever from the line, any time of year, bar none, period. So highly recommend you checking this out. Get your nose on it, get a sample bottle, whatever you wish. Coming in at number 4, most underrated fragrance for this summer. Coming in at number 3, Hugo Boss Bottled Infinite. You're kind of starting to see a theme here. Fragrance houses that have a plethora of summertime fragrance options for you to choose from, but there's always a couple that just seemingly get pushed to the back of the line for some reason. I know they have Boss Bottled Beyond. That's actually my scent of the day as I'm recording this video. Great ginger and leather fragrance you can wear any time of the year. I know they have Boss Bottled Pacific, and they have several different summertime options, but Boss Bottled Infinite to me might be my favorite and also the most underrated. It has a really nice apple, sage, and mandarin orange opening. Get a lot of that lavender, rosemary, and patchouli in the mid, and then sandalwood and an olive tree in the base. To me, this kind of smells like a apple-scented men's body wash that I'd use at a luxurious hotel or resort. That's kind of the vibe that it gives me, kind of in the blue fragrance realm. I know the juice in the bottle is also kind of like a dusty blue, so you could perhaps draw those comparisons just looking at the presentation and the box itself, or the bottle itself rather. But I think this stuff is super underrated. Has a unique scent profile. Like I said, not a lot of fragrances really carry this kind of a DNA. The lavender, the apple, the sandalwood, they all work very well together, and I get very solid projection and longevity, especially for the price that this stuff is at. Very, very cheap. If you go to places like Joma Shop or even Olfactory, you can scoop this up for not much at all. I mean, it costs you less for this than it would to take your family out to dinner in today's economy. So check it out, get a sample, get a decant, whatever you have to do. I think this is extremely underrated, and it's still one of the best summertime fragrances that I keep coming back to in my own collection. Hugo Boss Bottled Infinite at number 3. What if I told you a fragrance with 29 notes comes in at number 2? That's right, we have Roja Perfumes Isola Blue. This is actually one of my most recent pickups in my collection, and I understand the price point behind it. If you know anything about Roja fragrances, they're expensive. This is $200 online for just a 50 ml size bottle. So it's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But this stuff is just such a good smelling summertime fragrance. To me, I'm not even gonna bother reading the 29 notes that are listed. But for me, I get a lot of the lime, the lemon, the thyme, and the lavender in the opening. Some of the apple, orange blossom, jasmine in the mid, and then in the base, the cedar, the patchouli, the oak moss. Just kind of like a green earthiness. I'll put it to you this way. When I smell this fragrance, this smells like a lotion or a hand soap that I would be using in the most luxurious spa that I could possibly find myself in. It dries down. I don't think vetiver is actually listed in here as a note, but I get a lot of the vetiver. Got a pretty noticeable green tinge to the fragrance, but all these notes, all 29 of them, they work so well together. And really, to me, this kind of has a classy feel to it. For me personally, I could see myself wearing this when I'm preaching, or I could see myself wearing this on a summer date night. Like, there's just a level of elegance and quality about this fragrance that would have you reaching for this in special occasions, like I said, dates, or maybe you're going somewhere luxurious, nice. You got to step up your game a little bit. You're out of town on vacation or on a trip. I would reach for this fragrance, and I know the price, and I know it's, not everybody's gonna be getting their nose on it. That's why I put it at number 2 and not number 1. But if you can get a sample of it or find a way to smell it in store somewhere, if you can smell these fragrances near you, I'd highly recommend it. Incredibly underrated. Roja Elysium, I understand that takes up all the hype, but you gotta give Isola Blue the flowers and the credit that it deserves. And that's why it's number 2 on my underrated and slept on summertime fragrance list. Coming in at number 1, we have Versace Man Eau Fresh Extreme. A lot of people love the original Man Eau Fresh, but just recently, as of a couple months ago, they released the extreme version of this fragrance. Nice dark blue navy bottle, very reminiscent of something like Versace Dylan Blue. And guys, this stuff is a home run and a half. You get orange blossom, lemon, pink pepper, lavender, clary sage, bourbon geranium, and Ambroxan musk and Virginian cedar. When I first spray this on, I get some of that orange blossom lemon, but the pink pepper, it has the fresh, juicy citrus in the top. But all throughout this fragrance, there's just a sense of a slight spicy and earthiness that you get, no doubt from that pepper, a little bit from the clary sage, lavender, and geranium, and then obviously the cedar, musk, and ambroxan in the base. But guys, this stuff is so good. I've heard people draw comparisons to maybe in somewhat of the realm of YSL Myself or even Versace Dylan Blue, because kind of a blue fragrance, spicy shower gel, not incredibly fresh, not incredibly bright, but also it's not leaning dark, but it still maintains a earthy green pepperiness about it. Somewhat similar to what perhaps Louis Vuitton's Meteor would do. Nowhere near that level of earthiness and spiciness in Neroli, just overall green freshness that you get from Meteor. But you take that original Mano Fresh DNA, you add a little bit more spice, a little bit more depth to it, a little bit more punch with that ambroxan and some of the spices that are used. And guys, this stuff is so good. Wore it last night even, and it lasts. It'll get you compliments. It gets you noticed. And among several of the brand new fragrances that have been released, I don't hear anybody talking about the new Versace Mano Fresh Extreme. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you've heard a ton about it. But I'd be pretty surprised if that was actually the case, because this seems to have been swept in under the rug amongst the vast majority of brand new fragrance releases for this summer. I smelled this actually the day that I graduated with my master's degree from Luther Rice, just about a month and a half or so ago. And still, here I am. Now we're entering into July, and I'm still talking about it. I've actually went out and got a sample, and probably going to have to bite the bullet and get a bottle, because this stuff just works very, very well for the summertime. And now it's going to be hitting discounters in the next couple weeks if it hasn't already. And so Versace fragrances, period, are already cheap. They're one of the cheaper designer houses out there. But once it hits discounters like Joma Shop, it's game over. You'll be able to scoop this up for 60 to 80 bucks, I'd imagine, depending on the size bottle you get. So check this stuff out if you haven't already. If you like that original DNA, I know you're going to love this. If you like stuff like Dylan Blue, like YSL Myself, once again, you're going to be in that crowd where this is going to be doing the job for you this summer. So I recommend you picking up. And how about this? How about you drop down in the comment section below, what other fragrances did I miss? What fragrances are not being talked about? They're slept on. They're criminally underrated. And what do more people need to be keeping their eyes on and wearing this summer for 2026? Let me know down below. That's all for me. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe. Be back for the Devotional Sunday. But until then, God bless.